Hi guys, it's Samantha here, and we're going to be talking about the first trimester of pregnancy. I wanted to let you know that I'm not a medical professional, so if you have any questions when it involves your medical or your health, please consult your doctor, because that is not the field that I am in, and just to disclose all of that. So I wanted to talk about the first trimester now that I have gotten to the tail end of the first trimester. The first trimester was definitely probably the hardest. So when we found out we were pregnant, I couldn't wait. I just had to tell my husband right away. You know, you do the stick first thing in the morning. I hear it's when it's the most potent. I ran over to him while he was streaming on his video games, and I said, hey, mute it really fast. And I showed him the stick and told him he was gonna be a dad. So we were definitely nervous and really excited. We did have a miscarriage earlier of 2019, so it has been a very tough journey with starting our family, and I'll do a vlog about that eventually. In the meantime, so when I first found out I was pregnant, the first sign was obviously not getting my period, and so that was sign number one. I was like, okay, I should be starting right about now. I'm a little late. We'll just see. And actually, the second sign was the fact that I had a dream. The dream that I had was such a weird, odd dream involving the birth of a baby and actually the unfortunate to ashes of a baby, and that was so weird. And I just thought, you know, that's a really weird dream. I wonder if I'm pregnant. Ha ha ha. Peed on a stick, sure enough, 2 lines, we're pregnant. And so we decided to tread lightly. We waited a little bit to go see the doctor, so we didn't see the doctor till I was about 8 or 10 weeks along. We did have a little bit of some fear because of the miscarriage before, and also I was having a little bit of spotting a couple of weeks after we found out that we were pregnant. Luckily, everything was okay. So the first trimester, the reason why it's a doozy, it is the hardest trimester. The reason why is your body is making this hormone, is just throwing your body for a loop. And so that's why the first trimester you are sick. You are just sick. Whoever is not sick, how'd you do it? So I was sick in a sense of I didn't throw up a lot unless I overworked myself. The worst day, I worked in the morning and then I did a doubleheader football game later that day, all in one day. I may have thrown up in the press box about 2 or 3 times. Luckily, no one was there but my boss at the time, and he is an amazing man that just let me get sick, and he kind of did my work for me for a little bit. I did the game. Once the game was over, I slept in the car while they took all gear down. That was probably the hardest night, and then for some reason, and some other pregnant women have this same issue, brushing my teeth. Whoa. The whole first trimester, I did not brush my tongue, and I felt blech. So I had to get creative of how I brushed my teeth, and then I would just try and swish extra time, as well as swish around Listerine to try and keep my mouth clean during that first trimester, because I cannot tell you how many times simply brushing my teeth resulted in throwing up before work and barely making it on time. Rather embarrassing, actually, especially since we waited so long to tell everyone that we were pregnant. I couldn't explain to anyone why I was sick all the time. So after doing some research to see what kind of things to make me not sick, was the prenatal vitamin I was taking had a over 200% worth of iron, which too much iron can really make you sick. Even though iron is not bad for you, it still was too much of it, was just really throwing my body off. So I decided to give a different prenatal a try, and we found Smarty Pants on Amazon, which has multi-omega-3s, which is like the fish oil type of stuff, and folate, which my doctor told me was very good for fetal development, and then immunity, energy, and bones. And it comes in a gummy form. It was a lot easier to take than swallowing a pill. So much easier to eat gummies when you're feeling nauseous than swallowing a pill, most definitely, and it has no iron. After the first trimester, at that point, I'll start taking some iron supplements, but for the time being, this works for me. I'm just gonna eat some food that has some iron in it because I don't wanna puke my guts out all the time and feel like trash. Some other things that I would do is I would constantly carry snacks. Saltine crackers, oatmeal cookies was a godsend, and granola bars, Capri Suns. I drank a lot of Capri Sun because it was more juice oriented, and the best thing that I have found was when you wake up in the morning, you sit up just a little bit, prop your head up on a pillow, eat a couple of saltines before you get up, because then at that point, and let it sit for like 10 minutes before you get up, and get up slowly. If you get up too fast, eating or not eating, you're not gonna feel very good. So I kind of ate constantly, and if I went more than an hour and a half, 2 hours without eating a couple of crackers, I felt really sick. I can't tell you how many times I had to run to the bathroom. I figured everyone was gonna find out that I was pregnant, even though I wasn't ready to tell them yet. And I did suffer a lot with depression during my first trimester, with some things that's been going on in Tim and I's lives that makes things a little bit more difficult. On top of being really sick. Being really sick just makes you feel down. And so I got very, very depressed to the point where I had a list of therapists, and instead I didn't see the therapist. Definitely nothing wrong with seeing a therapist, but I decided to just really try and pick myself up, walk around a little bit, get my blood pumping, and then at that point I did start to feel a lot better. So, and if you're in that first trimester and you're starting to feel really depressed and down, please talk to somebody, because it really does help. I ended up having a mental breakdown with my husband and just bawled into his arms, and he started to cry too, because there's nothing he could have done, and just to let him know how I was feeling. And I told him at the beginning of breakdown, just love me right now, because I just need to cry, let it all out, just hold me and I'll be okay. I didn't want him to say anything, because if he said something, I was gonna get mad. I just wanted him to hold me and tell me he loved me. During that first trimester as well, it is very important that you get an adequate enough of sleep. So you start to get tired sooner, so make sure you're going to bed earlier, and maybe you're taking rest breaks at work, whether it be just setting your head back or putting your head into your arms. Just take a couple of minutes just to center yourself to feel better, because you are going to be very, very exhausted. And make sure you're also not overworking yourself. The day that I was the most sick, I worked both jobs back to back, and it was a 15-hour day during my first trimester, and that was when I was the sickest. So I ended up taking a little bit of a step back on my second job, just because it wasn't healthy for me and baby, not only for being up that long and on my feet that long, but also it was causing a lot of stress and a lot of depression, being overworked like that. Nobody's fault but my own. I work too much. And for a lot of those first time mommies that are looking up these videos right now, you're going to get sick. You're going to throw up. Just let it happen. Find a trash can, toilet, sink, whatever. It's going to happen. Just let it out. Believe me, you feel loads better. I actually had to pull over on my way to work to throw up in a ditch. Don't feel bad. You're going to get sick. It's going to happen. A lot of times, if you try to coax it away, you just make it worse. Just let it out. And then you might not want to eat that item for a while. For me, it was a peanut butter sandwich. I haven't been able to eat a peanut butter sandwich since that day. So don't eat your absolute favorite food, because you're probably gonna throw it up. One of the nights that I was incredibly sick, I was throwing up something that was spicy. Yeah, don't do that. Don't eat spicy food. Just take that advice. Don't eat spicy food. So I was throwing spicy food up, and my husband is just holding my hair back. He's getting me water. He's loving on me. He's doing the best he can. He's putting me to bed, tucking me in. He's holding my hand, and he says, "We're not doing this again. This is going to be our only child. We're not doing this again. Let's just see how this goes. If the first trimester is not that bad and I'm not sick the entire time, we'll just have to see. That we can always adopt as well. There's so many children that are needing of adoption, and so it's totally fine. If this is an awful experience, we will just adopt. But I did tell him, I was like, I don't want to have just one singular child. I grew up with a brother, he grew up with 3 other siblings. It's important to us to have a medium to slightly larger family. So he's just gonna have to love me when I'm sick, and so it doesn't last forever. And if you feel like there's anything wrong or concerning when it comes to your pregnancy, if you happen to be sick too much or not sick at all, there is no harm in consulting your doctor and just saying, hey, these are the symptoms I'm feeling or not feeling. Is this normal? They are used to this, especially when it's your first child. The doctors are used to getting tons of questions. Feel free to ask a million questions. So, and it's important to know what's best for you and best for baby as well. So definitely ask those type of questions. So I know this video was a little bit longer than I intended it to be. The first trimester, I think, is probably the scariest aside from birth, and we'll talk about that later. I think the first trimester is definitely the scariest. There's nothing to be afraid of. If you're gonna puke, just puke. But there's nothing to be afraid of in the first trimester. And if it's something to where the pregnancy was a surprise, I mean, definitely reach out for support and for help when it comes to the decision of your body and your health and your baby and things like that. And if you are fearful or scared in any way, don't hesitate to reach out to me, whether it be private message or commenting. If you're just looking for some support, I'd be more than happy to speak to you about that. I just want to let you know that you are not alone. There's a lot of mommies out there that are willing to lend a helping hand in this state of big change coming up in your life. So that's all I have today. Thanks for joining me, and if you have any questions, please comment below. Hit that subscribe button. I do more than just pregnancy vlogs as well. And I also have a Facebook page, YouTube channel, anything, all of the above. I'm going to post down below so that way you can find me and ask me any questions. Please keep comments and responses very kind to one another. I'd appreciate that. This potentially could be a very touchy subject when it comes to new mommies, people who are wanting to become mommies, mommies who have lost children, and it's very important that we're very kind to each other, and anything that is not kind in the comment section will be deleted. So please be nice to each other, ask questions, start chatting back and forth. Let's start a little forum. And I'm excited that you guys joined me, and you guys have a wonderful day. Bye!